Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Aries EDC. So I have this composition book in front of me, and this composition book is one of many that I use to just sketch and to doodle. And I'm sure by the title of this video you have figured out that I am messing with some of my designs. So I have a handful of designs that I ran into some issues with, and then some things that have just been kind of bugging me. So I kind of have an opportunity to revisit some of those designs and to tweak them, and based on some of the other designs that I've put out, that it's kind of made me realize that I can stretch things a little bit more and just take advantage of that. And the one that really came up recently, well, two things came up recently. I was doing the Thorn Tonto, and I'm working on two of those right now, and there's something about the short handle that was bothering me. So I really want to kind of stretch that handle out a little bit. I also felt the same way in regards to that as the Thorn, and you see the Thorn a little bit shorter blade length than the Tonto, and in the handle it's pretty much the same, just shaped a little bit different. But I might tweak all of these things to make them look the same or to make them even. But there was something about the Thorn that I felt like the handle was just a little bit too shorter than the blade, even though they're the exact same size. But I want to bump it out just a little bit, and it's not that I'm trying to make it a 4-finger handle, but I think bumping it out just a little bit to where it's 3.5 maybe will give it a little bit better overall look. There's something that bothers me when I'm looking at that design. Plus, in the CAD, I set it up for pins, but I want to open myself up in the future to trying to do the removable screws and hardware again. And there's nothing wrong with moving these holes around, where maybe this larger hole gets a little bit farther forward and the pin is right in this area, to where if I used the screws it'll look a little bit better, and even if I did pins it would still look good with the lanyard hole. So I'm kind of in the middle of doing a bunch of different things, and I've kind of done some stuff in the book. I also have the Thistle, which is all part of this family. It's like the family of knives, where we have the Thorn, the Tonto Thorn, and then we have the Thistle, which is basically a clip point thorn. So all of these. Now I did on the Thistle, compared to the Thorn, the Thistle, I'm gonna be in the middle of a tongue twister here in a second. The Thistle is the same size length blade as the Thorn, but I did stretch the handle out just a little bit on the Thistle because I knew there was something about that that was a little odd. So when I made the first Thistle, the handle stretched out just a little bit, and it gave it that kind of 3 and almost a half blade width is perfect. So what I want to kind of do is stretch that out just maybe a little bit more, and definitely do that for the Thorn, and then again for the Tonto. So I've been kind of sketching some things out, trying to figure it out, and so I came up with, well, no, that's just garbage. I came up with some of this. Don't look at that one on the bottom. That's nothing. You see nothing. So this is the Tonto Thorn, and the blade length is the same, but I stretched the handle out just a little bit more. Same for the Thorn. Again, stretch the handle out just a little bit more. I might thin that out once I transfer all this into wood, because my goal is to take these drawings and then end up transferring this all into wood, or just go straight to wood and just kind of make some measurements in here. So basically what we have done is turned these blades into something that is 5.5 inches, just over 5.5 inches to 6 inches, just a little over 6 inches. So I'm stretching everything out just a little bit more. The handle now is about 3¼ inches long. So that kind of, I think that's a happy medium between being just a full 3-finger and maybe a little bit too small to stretching it out just a little bit, but keeping it comfortable as an EDC knife. You know, I've been asked several times, do you do bushcraft knives? Do you do larger knives? And I can, there's nothing stopping me, but I'm not interested. I'm just totally not interested, but I love nice small EDC fixed blades. That's my wheelhouse. That's where I like to be. So I'm trying to push these designs, make that handle a little bit longer. I've learned when I did the Hawk that, you know, pushing that length out just a little bit is not a bad thing. Or when I'm doing the spikes, pushing that handle out just a little bit is not terribly bad, and it keeps it within the EDC range as long as it doesn't get too bulky. But the Hawk is a perfect example of stretching something out a little bit longer. So I want to redo these, and what I'm going to do is basically transition all of these into wood and just cut these out again. And then whatever I come up with that is moving forward, that's going to be what we're going to do. And I drew the spike too, just, I don't know why, the spike, just so you guys can see the difference between the size of the spike and then the thistle, the Tonto thorn, or no, that's the thorn and the Tonto thorn. And we'll do that. And that is a play on the Cardinal clip point that I'm kind of, this is the Cardinal and that's a Cardinal XL, and I'm still working on, I'm still not happy with the way that that looks, but this is the process. This is the process for which I am working. Also, I said I'm working on we're maybe moving some of these holes around. So I have printed out the CAD files for my CAD designs, so when I get them water jetted, being able to do that. So this is the CAD file. I don't know why the small one is printed there, but this is just how it printed. So basically I'm going to move, this is a pinhole, and then I'm going to move that back here for the spike. So I have my spikes that I'm getting ready to sell here. So instead of this hole being here, I'm going to push it back to this area. So that way, when it's here, and if I wanted to do removable screws or removable hardware, it doesn't look quite as odd as when I found out that it's just not going to look good using the hole placement where I have on this currently for the CAD file. So I'm trying to place these in a different, better spot so I can send these over to my buddy Loot so he can get me an updated CAD file. So moving forward, when I do water jetting, that this will be able to do removable handle scales along with the thorn. I kind of want to do the same thing for the thorn, just taking this hole and instead of it being here, kind of swapping these two out, where this hole can go in here somewhere, and then I could do a smaller hole back here. The lanyard hole can stay where it is, but maybe, and I'm sure Mark is really good and he can play with it to where it looks good, and then he can share it with me. So this is kind of what I'm working on today. I'm in a kind of a lull. I have just like an hour to work out here, but what I want to do is do an updated, I like how the Tonto thorns are coming out. Oh wait, let me get them. So I like how that's coming out, but I kind of want the handle a little bit longer. So I want the handle, instead of being here, I want it to stretch out just a little bit longer. That way, yeah, I think the overall look of that balances. It balances a little bit more. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me, let me know in the comments. So let's look at some measurements. So basically the blade length is 3 inches. but now the handle is 3 1/4. So you got a 6 1/4 overall blade. But I think that's not going to be bad. That's going to be a little larger than this thistle overall, as you can see. It just stretches it out just like a little bit more. It just gives you a little bit more to hold on to in the blade and to control the blade. And I know I always get dinged on. Everybody wants a 4-finger knife. I get it, but when you start to stretch things out, it becomes a little bit more bulky to carry. The Hawk, only because the Hawk has a such smaller blade length, it fits into that. It's almost the exact same size. What is the size of the Hawk? I don't even know. Yeah, the Hawk is right at 6 inches, a little over 6 1/8 inches. So these guys are going to be actually a little bit, wow, what's going on? Why is my measurements all off? That should be roughly the same, right? Yeah, that's about the same. Yeah. So they'll be basically the overall same length overall as the Hawk with a little bit larger of a blade. So anyway, I'm digressing and blabbing and doing a bunch of stuff. So what I want to do is I want to get out in the shop, play with these. Why do I have the spike? I don't want that. Just play with these 3 designs and update them just a little bit. And that way, moving forward, I can update them in the CAD file. So maybe I can get these. I don't have these 2 put in CAD. I don't know if I should or not. It's an expense, but I do have the Thorn. So if I could stretch that out just a little bit, do some little fancy maneuvers with the holes, and then moving forward, I think Thorns will be pretty awesome moving forward. But that won't be until next year, because I still have a bunch of Thorns that look like this. And this isn't bad. These are really cool little, I mean, you're going to probably be holding the blade pinching, or 3-finger here, controlling the tip most of the time anyway. So that's kind of probably how you're using the knife, more so than gripping it, pistol gripping it. But I don't know. Maybe that's me and not you. But let me update these. I'm gonna go cut some stuff out and do that. But I've been getting a lot of great feedback on my version of a Tonto. We'll see how they go when I finish them all up and they're all sharpened and everything. But definitely, I feel like that handle should be stretched out just a little bit and shaped a little bit different. Like I maybe thin that out a little bit. I'm playing with it, guys. It's never ending, right? The design never stops. But let me go cut those out, and I'll come back and update you guys on what I've done. All right, so we have the Tonto Thorn, the Thorn, and the Thistle. So this was the original, and now we have the updated, and the updated. Oh, jeez, it doesn't fit. All right, wait, one. Ding, 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 ding. All right, what do you think of that? So now you have, it's the same blade shape, but now we've extended the handle out just a little bit. So now it's almost 4 fingers. So for me, it's like 3.5. If you have really large hands, your pinky will still be hanging off, but I will still do lanyards on these. But it gives you just a little bit more. And I think it balances the overall look. I don't want the knives to be, and sorry, I have sawdust all over me and I'm getting sawdust everywhere. Oh my gosh. I don't want the design to be blade heavy, meaning it's all blade and the short stumpy little handle. It just throws me off. So I'm happy with the new thing. So moving forward, what do you guys think? So now we have the Thorn. I see the Thorn was screaming for this. That is such a better shape. Don't you guys think? Oh yeah, That's such a better shape. I like it. Yeah, I'm happy with this. So, holy cow. So now moving forward, if you order, or if I make a thorn, a thistle, or if I decide to do any more Tonto thorns, we're still in the middle of these, so I don't even know if this is going to be in regular rotation or not regular rotation. I extended that blade just a little bit more, but I think we have a happy medium on handle now. You can see it's covering 4.5. Let's get some measurements on these guys just so you guys can see now what we are looking at. And I don't know, people probably are like, why are you doing wood? Why are you using wood? It's a wood's a medium that I'm comfortable with, so it's just under 6 1/4, which if I know that I can extend it out, I'll write myself a note on this blank to extend that out just a little bit. So that's pretty cool. We have the thorn. I like that's flat back. So why was that 6? I measured this like 4 times. It's still bigger than that. So okay, so it's because the blade is a little shorter. So the blade's a little shorter on the thorn than it is the Tonto thorn. So okay, I'm good. So now the handle length is, if I start the handle right there, we're at 3 1/4. Okay, so that's what I really should be measuring, is the handle. 3 1/4, 3 1/4, and then of course 3 1/4. Okay, very, very good. So yeah, looking amazing. Thistle, I think. All right, awesome. So again, moving forward, this is going to be these, and these are going to get put into the scrap pile, never to be seen again, or just buried someplace. Because moving forward, I want to stick with these. These are the ones that I want to stick with. And now I need to reach out to Loot and update this in CAD. So not only do I need to do updated hole placement, but I need to do updated size. So I'm going to have to send him updated measurements now on handle and everything else. And hopefully he's not too upset with me for changing the design. But I think that's part of where you are, right? It's you're coasting through, you come up with a design, you play with that design, you make that design, and all of a sudden you're like, you know, I'm not terribly happy with this. I want to make it a little bit bigger. So we start with this, maybe go up just a little bit, but I think thinning all of this out a little bit and moving the hole placement and stretching that handle out, I really think, guys, that we're going to be in a little bit of a better place. What do you guys think? I think we're in a good place. I definitely shortened up that Tonto handle, so I'm going to have to add like 1/8 of an inch to the end of that. Or what I do is I can leave myself a little note and say plus 1/8. Bink. There we go. How about that? So now we have thorn, Tonto, thorn, and thistle. I'm going to have to go back and do that in permanent marker, because once I get into the shop and my hands are dirty and I start playing with these, they get pretty darn dirty. You can kind of see which designs get used more because they get kind of dirty, which is fine. That's what they're there for. And one day I'll start putting these in Lexan or other products, but for right now I have a ton of this thin plywood laying around. So these make great little blanks that I could use to pull out at any time I want to make the designs for you. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore, but I need to go get cleaned up. I'm hot and tired, thirsty. But what do you guys think? Updated designs? Did I go to the right area? Did I do the right thing? Does that design-wise speak to you guys a little bit more? It does to me. I'm super happy with the way that came out, and what I'm going to be doing with this moving forward will be cool. So I'm going to draw this one out, and I need to draw the spike out and move around these hole placements on these two, and then I'll get my buddy Mark to update that CAD file so that moving forward, when I do get water jet knives come, they'll look like this with the hole placements a little bit better, and maybe I can revisit that removable handle scales. Again, it's not my preferred look on a knife, but I know that some of you were really, really excited about me doing that. And, you know, hey, if it helps me sell a knife, then I will continue to do it. So let me know what you guys think of the updated designs and maybe some of the changes I'm going to do with some of these, moving the holes around and doing that. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments about what do you guys think of this. I mean, if you're not evolving, you're sitting still doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't want to do that. I want to continue to evolve and continue to push my designs to something that speaks to the masses. And I also have to trust my eye. And my eye was telling me these needed to be stretched out just a little bit more. So I think you know, moving these handles go like that, and then you have the blade come up and goes like this. I don't know why I'm doing this right now. Oh my God. Coming up like this and get a little curve maybe. So you got the thistle that looks like that. What do you think? We put a pin here, put a pin up here, put a lanyard hole there. Bink. Oh yeah. What do you think? I think that's cool. What do you guys think? Also, should I do this in CAD? I should probably do the thistles in CAD. What do you guys think? I do a run of thistles? That would be cool. I need to do a run of thorns. I have thorns, but unfortunately, guys, they all look like this. So I have actually 7 of these, but they're going to be the short-handled thorns. So we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them going. So I don't know what I'm doing anymore. This video has probably gone on way too long, and I'm stuttering and stampering and oh well. So I don't know. This was a fun idea that I wanted to do. This is the process for which I do. It starts with a drawing. It starts with some kind of measurements, and then it ends up being what you guys see. It ends up turning into a knife, and then I look at that knife and I say, well, how can I make that better? And I think I've done it. So now moving forward, thistles, thorns, and Tonto thorns will have a little bit different look to them, but I think overall, I think they'll be better. Yeah, I think so. So anyway, I hope you guys appreciate this. Let me know in the comments. Are you guys excited about these? Did I do good? Or would you rather have the other ones? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you guys. Once again, please remember, subscribe, like, leave a comment, or not. Again, the choice is always yours.